I have a question about meditation. What is meditation? What should I do? What type of meditation is right, and what type is wrong? There are many methods, and I will talk about one of the methods in this talk. Meditation, as it is, came mostly from Eastern practices. Meditation practice exists in Hinduism and in Buddhism. It's a system that allows a practitioner to connect to himself, or, in an absolute sense, to understand himself. There is a term you might have heard about the path to self. So, meditation is the shortest path to the self. But before that, we need to talk about what a human being is, and then you will understand why meditation as a tool can help. It's important to know that there are no right or wrong meditations. If, according to one teaching, there is a specific meditation, it doesn't mean that another meditation in another teaching is wrong. Why do you think this is? Yes, everyone has his own path. Meditations can have a different level of complexity. For a beginner, it is pointless to give difficult meditations. Even if the meditation method is perfect, it wouldn't be of any use to the inexperienced beginner. Therefore, for different levels of practitioner, there must be different meditations. The meditation types must be, to some extent, consistent. Let's talk about humans as you understand the term. What are you? With what do you identify yourself? How do you understand yourself? Where did you come from? What do you understand about what it means to be human? When you were born in this world, you couldn't talk or understand. You looked at this world with different eyes. But nevertheless, the show has to go on, so you were taught how to understand reality according to the rules of the majority. However, a certain percentage of people don't want to see reality in the same way as the majority, and their view is different. And those people are given names. They are called mad or not traditional. However, these alternative people exist. I'm saying this because I want you to understand that the motivation of a person depends on the motivation of the soul or jivatma, the individual soul as well as the society. If you were born in a different society, you would become a different human. Here is an example. You heard about the terror attacks in Europe. The last one was in Belgium. Around 30 people were killed by bombers. Indians from our hotel asked us if we came from Belgium or not. Imagine some people killed other people for the sake of their religious ideas. You can imagine that some of you could have been born in the country where the terrorists were born. If you had got that specific outlook, then theoretically, you could have been in the place of those who are killing, even through self-sacrifice. Can you imagine that? You understand that your surrounding reality forms your intentions. You believe in those intentions and make it happen. It's logic that everyone understands. The majority of your problems are created by you and your surroundings. Make a list of your problems and how you want to solve them, and you will see that they are all made by you and people who surround you. That's the reality. Meditation is reprogramming or self-reprogramming. In meditation, you can change the programs which are in you. The basic level of meditation is the changing of those tendencies that are self-destructive. The meditation or the technique of meditation can be different. Different schools see it differently. But most of the time it will look like this. You will sit with your eyes closed for some time. While you sit, you can analyze, from the Buddhist point of view, the workings of your mind by observing your breath. This seems like an easy task. But why does it create such huge change? People can get rid of stress or bad habits by concentrating on the breath. They can get rid of bad habits. It seems like an easy thing to do. As a point of concentration, an object can also be used. One chooses the object and concentrates on it. It's a kind of purposeful meditation. I have practiced meditation for 20 years and with the majority of people I meet, their most difficult problem is concentration on the breath. Why? Because if you are a social person, you will experience failure in your concentration. Of course, we can talk about high-level meditation where people can complete the first level, then the second, and so on. But in reality, you will always find yourself on level 1. You will make an effort, feel a bit better, then another problem will come and you will have to go back to the start and concentrate on your breath. But it is a proven way and I recommend it. Focusing on the breath is a time-tested method. Buddha Shakyamuni gave us this practice. It's called Vipassana concentration. On our website, under Yoga, you can find pranayama and descriptions of different pranayamas. You can find around 20 different pranayamas, including Apanasati pranayama. There you can find the views of 4 different Buddhist schools on this practice. After 2,500 years, different schools have different sources talking about it. I recommend you to study and try all 4. Choose something for you that has the maximum effect. You will find a way of practicing that is more successful for you than other ways. It depends on your practice from previous lives. But perhaps you weren't doing this practice and you were doing something else. Maybe in your 20 previous lives you were waving your tail and remembering how great a tail can be for warding off flies. Perhaps you could do it phenomenally well. When you start doing pranayama, however, you will find it very difficult and your thoughts will be in a different place. The ability to meditate comes from the experience of past lives. For example, let's take your 3 past lives where you were practicing according to Theravada, as they do in Sri Lanka. In another life, you were maybe born in Burma, for example, and were practicing the Burmese variant of meditation, or maybe in Vietnam. In this life, you can reach the maximum effect from the system from which you previously had the best result. You might feel with your soul that this particular practice gives you the maximum effect. If so, then use it. Probably you find basic meditation is easy for you. But if you are a yoga teacher, you might be stuck on the first 2 levels of meditation. If you try to go higher, then after first seminar, you will find yourself back on the first level. And you have to begin again right from the beginning. If somebody didn't hear the question, then I will repeat it. Does going to retreats help to collect energy? Yes, indeed. The less you communicate, the more potential you will have for your own practice. But if you need to find a middle way, where is the right balance between your practice and service to people? If you focus only on personal practice, then you will have a big problem after returning into society. Therefore, I always recommend to become a yoga teacher because it is a middle ground where you will be forced to serve others and always forced to do personal practice. After a while, many people will call this person their teacher. Another problem is when the mind works this way, that the teacher can become an enemy. The mind of a person can blame their teacher for all their problems of self-justification. I haven't seen any exceptions. The system from ancient countries and old Russia is not working. People will call you guru, and after 6 years, they will call you a friend. Unfortunately, this happens. Why? Because the mind works this way. No one wants to have somebody as their sword of Damocles. It's like a self-defense system. The teacher will tell you about your problems. You will hear it all the time. You can get tired of that. If you feel a lack of control over the problem, then you will try to blame your teacher. Another important point is the fact that meditation techniques can have different degrees of wear. Okay, imagine there is a big movement which practices a certain type of meditation, for example, meditation on mantra. Let us assume that there are 2 or 3 million people on this planet regularly practicing this mantra meditation. Imagine the average energy of the society that reads this mantra. And the mantra, it's almost a meditation. That is, they utter certain words, they concentrate on the deity and accordingly form a whole consciousness. Does everyone understand? What do you think when you focus on a particular object? How much energy do you get? You get the power of the Supreme Deity plus the average energy of the society that is already practicing it. You might not understand what I'm talking about. It's just an example. If your temperature is 36.6 degrees, but you are in hot India, where it is 37, if you do some practices as they do in India, your temperature automatically will go up to 36.9, for example, because you will be tuning into the audience that is doing the same practice. There are millions of them, and you are alone. They have an energy channel called egregore, the collective group mind. You are tuning into the egregore, and the energy from it pours into you. It's not a nonsense, and it's not something I just came up with. It is the basics I am telling you about. You need to practice the meditation which is not in popular demand. Those practices have the biggest effect and give you a better chance for your personal development. If you are, as a teacher, living not for yourself but for others, then you need to look for more exclusive things. I will tell you about one such exclusive practice that is not very popular in this world, though it is completely open information and not a secret. The sutra is called Sutra Bodhisattva Comprehensive Wisdom. In this sutra, the meditation was given by Shakyamuni Buddha. He recommended us to practice it. It seems like a very simple meditation, but the truth is that it is not easy at all. In fact, it's very difficult. But this is why I'm telling you about it. Read about this meditation and think what a powerful intellect and visualization you need to have to be able to imagine all of this. The detailed information is in the sutra, and it is what Buddha recommended himself. I assure you that there are not many people who can do this concentration practice. It's a clean source and has not yet been overused. If you have the possibility, then try it. You will go forward in your practice. In meditation with visualization, teach yourself at first to see the trunk of the elephant. The sutra isn't big. When I was a beginner, I was listening to the sutra and memorized the sequence of the visualization. So, my friends, I told you today about meditation and some very simple things such as concentration on your breath that will allow you to stay on the path of development. But if you want to do something more complicated, please do. There are more difficult meditations than the one I told you about just now. But just think about it. What stage of development were those disciples of Buddha Shakyamuni at that they could be doing such a very difficult meditation where you visualize an elephant? We have to grow for quite a while in order to reach that level. Yes, there was a question. Is it possible with the help of a simple meditation, even just focusing on the breath, to solve the problems that exist in one's life? Meditation is a tool. If you have experience in your past lives, for example, and you reach a good level in the meditation, then you have a greater chance to reach realization in this life. Because the experience of past lives can be dragged into this life. In my previous lectures, I said that one of the goals of a dedicated yogi is to return to or become the person you were before your birth. But how to define this and what parameters to use to find out if you are already the person who you were before this life, or whether you need to make more effort? The indicator is very simple. First, you will be shown the abilities and qualities that you did not develop in this life. You will appear, let's just say you will know what the time is without checking a clock at any time. This is one of the abilities, a very primitive one, by the way. So, in your head, you will always know what time it is. Let's say you try to go deep into your mental world. A watch is there, and when you ask the time, you can get the right answer any time you want. That means you have abilities that suddenly appeared, but which didn't develop in this life. It means that you reached the limit of your abilities, which you didn't develop in this life. And we are not talking about just one incarnation, but many incarnations. From each life, we can attract to this life some talents that can help us live more effectively. And the most important thing you need to know is that if you meditate regularly, then, automatically, you will not reveal any anger, inadequacy, or some other destructive quality. You will not suffer from those negative qualities anymore. This means that meditation is like an antibiotic against desires, which could take away your energy or take over your life, and maybe even destroy your life. There are no contraindications for meditation, because the concentration is on the breath. So how could you hurt yourself? The vast majority of viewers who will view this lecture will probably perform the meditation for a maximum of 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, they will find it difficult to sit straight and they will give up. Even if you sit still for an hour, to physically harm yourself will be practically impossible. There are doctors who say, here with yoga, those sitting in Padmasana have constricted veins. It is generally dangerous, varicose veins and so on. They scare people with talk of strokes and diabetes and whatnot. It's all nonsense. Because, in fact, when a person is sitting in any position, even if his veins are pinched, the bloodstream will easily still get around. In fact, I will give you an example. Once I was able to sit in Padmasana for only about a second. And here's a fact. In 1992, when I tried to sit in Padmasana, I had enough stretching ability to sit in Padmasana, but I could only sit in it for 1 second, because it was very painful and my legs went numb. But gradually, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5, 10. If you regularly try the asana, you will be able to do it, certainly after some hatha yoga, warming up and stretching the ligaments. Try at the end of your practice to sit for a few seconds in Padmasana, carefully and quietly, after opening all the joints. Gradually, you will increase your ability to perform this asana. Padmasana is the cornerstone of meditation. Why? Because the question of whether meditation will be obtained or not depends on the energy that you have. Padmasana allows energy to move from the bottom upwards. That is equivalent to when you get a second wind, thanks to Padmasana. Second wind is the term clear? Runners know about this. A man is running and is very tired, and suddenly he has some reserve that opens and he can carry on running. This is called a second wind, or at least that was the name before. Padmasana works like a second wind and is very good stimulation for further self-studies. In addition, you collect good karma for your future life if you do such simple meditations as concentrating on your own breath. In this life, you will gain a calm mind, and in your future life, you will be less impulsive. You are adult people and understand how many stupid things you can do because of the impulsive mind. So the chances of doing stupid things in future lives is less if you do meditation in this life. You will gain wisdom and look differently at many things. It's difficult to make a right decision if you don't have enough information. Let's say you are studying a problem from different angles and you want a greater chance of taking a right decision. Meditation on the breath can help you to achieve this. The most important thing is that you will get a reincarnation in a world where you can meditate. Why? Because whatever you do in this life, it will automatically attract your future life. Your future life, of course, if you are an adequate person and will not be sent for re-education, is what you call in this life. From life to life, we attract the same types of problem, as well as the same abilities. The life where you can do meditation is a more or less decent life. Many people, proud people, can't find the root of their problems. Because of their pride, they can't acknowledge their mistakes. People have to acknowledge their own mistakes to themselves first. Repentance in the Buddhist tradition happens not in front of a pastor, but in front of Buddhas who are very mythical and illusory. Personally, I would not recommend repentance to anybody. I guess you might have heard about the scandals in the Catholic Church. The scandals were that priests were found having not traditional relationships with children, to put it very mildly. You've probably heard about this. There is an explanation for why this is happening. Confessors who take confession, they act as a sort of energy lightning rod. They absorb the negative energy. The more people that come to them, the more problems they have, because they don't work on energy transformation. So they become slaves to those energies that come from those confessions. If they could incorporate this into their lives, some techniques, and change this energy, then they wouldn't do any of those horrible things. Therefore, meditation for this category of people would be a very positive practice. I will return to the question. It is best to confess to yourself, not to someone else. Confess to yourself about all your mistakes and weaknesses. Repentance is important, but you need to hold the middle ground and not go down the road of painful blame and self-torture, which is another extreme. There must be some middle ground. Do you understand? Yes, I know about meditation on running water. If you feel the benefit of this kind of meditation, it means you were the source or will become the source of water, and you will be helping others to meditate. Everything you take, you have to give back. You might say that a water source doesn't have a soul. Yes, it's true, but Varuna, the god of water, has a soul. If you feel you benefit from meditation on water, it means that you were Varuna before, or will become Varuna, and will give to others this energy. In this case, it's best to concentrate your meditation on Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who have far more compassion. You need to understand your body and then move to doing pranayama, including the element of meditation. Meditation calms you down. If, for example, you have strong energy, but this energy has destructive qualities, then you need to meditate. It will have a more positive effect on you than pranayama.
Друзья, благодарю. Потихонечку собираемся.